It especially works well with bar chords because the chording hand is in contact with all of the strings. So I just squeeze and release the pressure off of the strings right away. Bop, bop, or this bar chord right here. Hello, I hope you're having a wonderful day today. If you're new here, hi, my name is Katie, and welcome to the Córdoba Music Group YouTube channel. Today we're going to be learning a left-handed muting technique. It can be a creative alternative to chucking to produce a percussive rhythm, or it can create space between the chords. Step by step, we'll walk through the process of how to determine which finger or fingers will cover certain strings on the chording hand in order to mute them while the right hand is strumming. And last, I'll give you a couple song examples where you could use this. This technique involves coordination between your strumming hand and your chording hand. I'm going to demonstrate this on a C, F, and a G7 because they're common open chords and they also would have similar shapes to other open chords, so you could apply this technique to different chord shapes. First, let's start with the C chord. Instead of using, I like to use finger number 3 on the 3rd fret usually, but in order for this technique, I'm going to switch up my fingers. I'm going to take finger number 1 and I'm going to press down on the 3rd fret of the 1st string, and then I'm going to take fingers 2, 3, and a little bit of 4 right here. So we have middle, ring finger, pinky, and it's going to cover the rest of the strings right here. So as I strum down, I'm going to gently touch my strings with these fingers, and then you should hear that the vibrations stop. So the sound is muted when I just gently touch the strings, like that. So I'm going to strum and then mute my strings. Now let's try the F chord. F chord has pretty much the same technique, but we have one finger less to cover our strings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ring finger and my pinky, and you may have to experiment a little bit just to see what is going to be the right angle, what is going to be the most comfortable for you as you mute your strings. If you notice that maybe something is just a little bit off, or maybe there's a string ringing out, play your strings individually. See if you can find it. Oh, okay, so it's going to be this string right here. It's the E string. You know, you have to just kind of troubleshoot a little bit and then look to see, okay, is there something I can do with my chording hand to adjust accordingly, no pun intended, but adjust accordingly to make sure that I'm getting that really nice, clean mute. Now we move to G7. I really like this one because what happens is that each finger is pretty much covered by a string except for this G string right here. So now I'm going to take my thumb and I'm going to curl it over and just gently touch the string. That's all you have to do in order to mute it. Just a very gentle touch, like that. And then when I strum, I just release the pressure, but my fingers remain in contact with the strings. That's very, very important because I squeeze and then I release the pressure, or I let go of the pressure, and it creates a nice mute. So you don't have to coordinate any other fingers or whatnot if you don't want to. You just release the pressure, you squeeze, and then you release. And something I do want to note is that with that G chord, you lose that low G depth. So if you want to coordinate your thumb releasing, totally fine. If not, just using these 3 fingers and these 3 strings, it's going to be totally fine. You just might lose a little bit of depth that you would want if you had the low G. And you'd have to coordinate making sure that you mute that string. So you have to think about squeezing, releasing, and then also releasing the thumb. Let's try this within the context of a strumming pattern. So one of my favorite strumming patterns to use this left-handed technique is down, 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 up, down, up. The beat is swung, so it's not going to be a straight beat. It's going to be a swung beat. Boop, boop, boo, ba, doo, ba. And I'm going to mute the first 2 counts immediately after I play it. And the rest of the strumming pattern, I'm just going to play it as is, as written, like this. Now, if I played it without the mutes, with mutes, do you hear the space it creates, the bounce, the movement? So I'm going to be playing the C chord for a couple of measures, the F chord for a couple of measures, and then the G7 back to the C chord. I'm going to mute this way so that you can hear how it sounds within the context of a chord progression, and then you can actually see me mute the chords within the context. All right, ready? Down, 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 up, down, down. Here we go. It especially works well with bar chords because the chording hand is in contact with all of the strings. So I just squeeze and release the pressure off of the strings right away. Pop, pop, or this bar chord right here. Or if you have the G right here, you can do the squeeze, squeeze. Sometimes in music, it's not about what you play, it's about what you don't play that creates dynamic and that also creates interest. So the more space you have between those notes, you're just going to find like there's just more drive to the rhythm. That's just my personal opinion. But experiment with both, because maybe one would work for one song and one would work better for another. In a previous video, I talked about chucking, and that happens when you mute and strum at the same time, but it all involves your strumming hand. This technique involves coordination between your strumming hand and your chording hand. So what happens is that your strings are going to be covered or muted by certain fingers, and when you strum down on the strings, depending upon whether there is pressure applied to your strings or if they're muted, you're going to create a nice percussive feel in between your strumming patterns. So it's not just playing your open chord, what you're going to be able to do is that you're going to be able to create multiple muted strokes while strumming versus the chuck could only provide one chucking beat. Now I'm going to demonstrate this on a very common strumming pattern. I'm going to be using down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, up, down, up. So indicated by the X's, that is where I'm going to mute. And this is where the coordination comes in, because as my strumming hand keep strumming that strumming pattern, down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, up, down, up, my chording hand has to mute at the right time. So let's break it down first without the mutes, and then I'm going to show you where to mute. First, let's start with our C chord. Down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Here we go. Down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now what I'm going to do is that I have my first down, up, and as I strum down, my left hand is going to cover the strings, and I strum normally as I do. So it would be down, up, down. So make sure that those strings are covered as you strum down. Down, up, cover. Now we have the rest of the strumming pattern, which will be up, up, down, up. So I have a mute on 1 and 2, and 4, and. So let's try that again. Down, up, mute, up, mute, mute, down, up, mute, up, mute, mute, down, up, mute, up, mute, mute, down, up, mute, up, mute, mute. Let's try that on the F chord. So now we're using these two fingers. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Here we go. Down, up, mute, up, mute, mute, down, up, mute, up, mute, mute. Here comes our G7. Love this transition because finger number 1 is going to remain on the 1st fret of that 2nd string. And this is where I have the squeeze and the release. Down, up, U. So this technique adds just a little bit more percussive freedom that you could have other than the chuck, because the chuck only provides 1, whereas this one you could have multiple muted strokes in a row if you wanted to. So I have some songs to demonstrate this.
You can burn my clothes up when I'm gone, or you can tell your friends just what a fool I've been, and laugh and joke about me on the phone. But don't tell my heart, my achy, breaky heart, I just don't think you'd understand. Every day I have the blues. Every day I have the blues. You see me worrying, baby, it's you I hate to lose. Buddy, you're a boy making big noise, playing in the street, gonna be a big man someday. You got mud on your face, your big disgrace, kicking your can all over the place, singing we will rock you. We will rock you. Buddy, you're a...
Hey, thank you so much for joining me today. If you found this helpful, make sure that you give this video a like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. It really lets us know that you like these videos and that you would like to see more. If you do want to see more right away, you can go ahead and look at all of the cards around me. There's going to be some more videos that I think you would find very interesting, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.